What if Haxorus got a Mega Evolution? How would its appearance change? What would its new typing be? The other day, I ran a poll on my YouTube channel asking all of you, which of these Pokemon would you love to see get a Mega Evolution? And Haxorus took over 50% of the vote. So now, I'm gonna draw Mega Haxorus, from concept art to finished design and everything else in between. Let's get started. Alright, so we got 4 drawings of Haxorus here. Usually whenever I draw Pokemon, I have a reference drawing, to the side just to kind of help me out. And since we're drawing Mega Haxorus, a design that doesn't exist, we're gonna need to brainstorm a little bit so we can better conceptualize what it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna start tweaking these images here a little bit, just for inspiration, for the final design that I'm gonna end up going forward with. Now my initial design for Mega Haxorus was to make it a steel dragon type and really pushing that axe theming to the next level. The first thought that came to mind was adding an axe to the tip of its tail, and I thought that if it swings its tail around to chop up its enemies would be really cool, so that's something that I'm going to implement as well. I also thought about adding some sharp spikes along its back and along its face axe. The second idea that I thought was elongating its face a little bit, kind of to make it look like a crescent moon, sort of. I also had added some spikes to the tip of its tail, but it ends up looking more like a mermaid fin more than, something more threatening. So I'm not really loving that idea so much. The third idea was replacing its arms with blades and adding some kind of steel plating along its body just to kind of push that idea of the steel typing. And now I feel like it looks kind of like a mix between Scyther and Edward Scissorhands, sort of. I feel like there's something there. Maybe we'll implement it, maybe we won't. We'll see. So the fourth idea I have, which I actually like a lot, was reverting its face axe, the shape it currently is, into a shape that's more in tune with Axew's and Fracture's design. I felt like it would be kind of cool to call back on, its previous evolution designs when it mega evolves. I felt like it would be cool to instead just make it a really, really long version of what Fracture has on its face. And, we'll kind of see how that looks like once I start sketching things out. Alright, now that I have all of these concept ideas laid out in front of me, I'm gonna be able to really pick and choose certain ones that I feel like could work as a Mega Evolution and ones that won't. The axe tail that I mentioned looks really good. I really want to keep that aspect in the design. The blade arms, again, could be interesting. Maybe they might need claws at the end. The metal plating across the body would look cool. I think that could really push the whole steel typing aspect. And I feel like the face axe reverting back to its previous evolutions would be a nice touch, so I think I'm going to leave that as well. We're not going to go ahead with that weird mermaid fin. I feel like that looks really weird. It doesn't, complement the design I'm trying to push for. And adding spikes along the back might look a little obnoxious. So I think the 3 main concepts we're going to go with are the face axe, reverting back to Axew and Fractures. We're going to have blades for arms, and we're going to have an axe tail. So now that we have a few ideas that we like, we can proceed to sketch out our idea for Mega Haxorus. So I've pulled up my drawing for Haxorus to use as a reference, primarily to keep the proportions similar. I'm going to start sketching things out, and if there's anything that comes up that's worth noting, I'm going to stop real quick and talk to you guys, so I'll see you in a few. So referencing the steel platings that I mentioned earlier, I feel like the chest plate here would be a good place to add that metal/steel texture. So I'm going to go ahead and note that in this sketch. So here I am just elongating and exaggerating the face axe as much as possible. You know, the whole idea here is if Haxorus were to keep the design from Axew and Fracture, this is what I think it would look like. Adding the axe to the tail definitely looks good. I feel like this might be the primary method for attacking for Mega Haxorus, and I think again, just with the whole axe theming, it complements it really well. So here's a very, very rough sketch of Mega Haxorus. I'm gonna sketch it over again, more refined lines this time, less loose, just to kind of really give it that finalized form. And once we're happy with that, we're gonna start inking things out, and then we're gonna figure out what color it's gonna be. So let's get started. So really quick, a good practice here is to flip the image horizontally whenever you get a chance. This refreshes your eyes and your brain, and it helps you catch any errors or issues with the drawing here. By doing this, you're actually more likely to spot something that doesn't look quite right. In my case here, the face axe, it was not really symmetrical, so I kind of tweaked it slightly. So this is just something you should probably want to do every now and then whenever you're drawing something. It really helps out a lot in the long run. So drawing the legs and feet here, my idea is that they're kind of like blades. So his claws on his feet, they're super thin and super sharp. So just think of them as like super sharp blades. You know, they've lost complete kind of depth to them. They're just like these very thin blades that could really slice an opponent. Now that we have a more refined sketch complete, I think everything looks a lot better. Next step is to ink it, and afterwards we're going to discuss the colors to use. So let's get on to inking. At this point, I'm trying to make the lines really sharp, really rigid. I want to make it look as robotic and inorganic as possible. I really want to push that axe metal theming. The closer I'm getting to actually completing this piece, the more it's starting to remind me of a Paradox Pokemon from the future. Maybe Iron Blades could be a pretty good name. But it's funny because I obviously started off trying to create a Mega Evolution design for Haxorus, and now I'm looking at it shortly after playing Pokemon Scarlet, and I'm like, you know, this would totally be a Pokemon from the future. This would totally be a Paradox Pokemon. So we'll see how this progresses. You know, Mega Evolution, Paradox Pokemon, whatever we kind of decide at the end of this, I think it's still going to be a cool design. So now that we're done with inking, it's time for us to kind of figure out what colors we want to use for this Mega Evolution design. And I still want to maintain the initial kind of greenish yellow color that Haxorus has, but I also want to implement like many grays in there as well, obviously, since it's steel type now. So I think the greenish yellow, I'm going to kind of gray it out a little bit, but the metal platings on its body are going to be gray. The face axe used to have a red tip to it, and I do want to keep that there, but I think I'm going to kind of change where it's really laid out on this axe. I'm going to still keep it on the tip there on both sides, so we're just going to see how that looks. So overall, I think the design isn't too bad. I really like the certain characteristics and attributes I decided to pull from my mock-ups. I think it gives it a lot of personality, and I feel like it could very well have been a true Mega Evolution design had Haxorus gotten a Mega Evolution. The pose could use some work. That's probably the worst aspect here. That's something that I'm going to keep practicing with as I continue to draw different Pokemon, different designs, and I'm gonna definitely get better at that. And here we have it. This is Mega Haxorus, or a Paradox Pokemon version of Haxorus. However you feel it makes more sense to you, you can kind of go along with that. But if you've stuck around to the end of this video, I want to thank you so much. Seriously, you have no idea how much I appreciate this. This was my first real stab at drawing a Pokemon design that didn't exist before. You know, if you look at my channel, I'm just kind of trying to draw through the Pokedex right now. So this was definitely one of the more challenging projects I've done here so far. It took way too much time, but I hope with practice I'll get better at not only drawing them, but also creating an enjoyable and informative video for you guys to watch. So if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, and comment what you thought down in the comment section below. You can also hit the subscribe button. That would mean the world to me. It will help me grow this channel and will help me create more videos such as this. So thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.